Gals, and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, hi, my name is Hillary, and if you are a returning subscriber, then you must be a crazy hilly, so welcome back. If you guys like any of the content that we're putting out here, feel free to give me a like or subscribe or leave a comment down below. It actually helps the channel out so much, and I'd be so appreciative. But yeah, well, if not, let's just get right on into what we're going to talk about tonight. Tonight we're going to be covering the Haunting in Connecticut house, and this was a very big case. I have also covered the Amityville horror house, and they're kind of similar in the way that they were both, Ed and Lorraine Warren both came and, you know, did some research there, and they're both very, very controversial because there's a lot of stuff that went on. And I want to tell you the stories of not only the ones that I think are truly, truly ghost stories, and also the ones that are a little bit sketchy, because I want you to be able to form your own opinions on what you think. It's really hard if someone's only ever presenting, this is a ghost. You know what I mean? Because this one I was a little bit unsure about, so we'll just get into it. I guess you guys decide what you think really happened at the Haunting in Connecticut house. The Haunting in Connecticut movie came out in 2009, and at the time it was one of the most scary movies, I think, at the time in the movie theaters that came out. I remember my older siblings talking about it, and I distinctly being like, oh, I want to go see that because it's based on a true story. That is what is written across the whole thing. Although, you know, a lot of the stuff in the movie didn't really happen the way that they portrayed it to happen. There was quite a few differences that came along. And although the movie came out in 2009, the real events actually took place in 1986, when a couple named Carmen and Alan Snedeker moved into this house. The reason they moved into this house was because one of their sons had Hodgkin's lymphoma, it's a type of cancer, and he needed to be somewhere closer so that he could go to his doctor's appointments. Because at the time, it was a little financially unstable. They had to get these doctor's appointments. They had to move closer. You know, there was a lot of factors into why this family had to move in. When they moved into this house, it is very unclear because this house used to be a funeral home and like a mortuary and all these things. Like, they would prepare the bodies down below. They would show caskets in a certain room. It was a funeral home. And the mother, Carmen, states that she never knew it was a funeral home until when they got there. When the family did move in, that is when they found the mortuary, like the prepping table for the bodies that was down in the basement. They found toe tags. They found pictures of the dead. They found a bunch of things, and they were a little bit like, whoa. But, you know, they couldn't move out because, again, they were very financially stressed. They were a family that had quite a few children. There was a cousin living with them. There was the mother and father and like 3 boys or so. There was quite a few kids in the house at the time. Obviously, after moving in, this is where things kind of take a drastic turn. You know, they're ferrying their son back and forth from his appointments and all these things. And very slowly, people start noticing weird things are happening in the house. The mother, Carmen, said that at first she kind of noticed that some things were going missing. And then very slowly, her children started to say that they were seeing people in the house. It got to the point that it was so bad that their eldest son actually attacked his cousin, and it resulted in him getting diagnosed schizophrenia. So, you know, not great. All of a sudden, you're moving into this funeral home, and right away, things are happening. The reason that a lot of people think that this is a little sketch is because she was supposedly told that it was a funeral home prior to this, and they were, you know, not really good on funds. It's assumed that they were not good on funds because of all the situations that was going on in their lives. And if you think that's the only ghostly experiences, well, y'all are wrong, because there's a lot more. It turns out that the husband and the wife both claim to be raped and sodomized by spirits in their house. They would complain of when they saw these spirits, or not even just spirits, sorry, demons. It wasn't even just spirits that did all these things to them. It was demons that they saw. When these apparitions would appear in front of them, they would smell rotting flesh. And much like in the movie where the mother is mopping the floor, she was mopping the floor one day with water, stuck her mop in the bucket, pulled it out, and it was blood. And obviously probably stopped mopping the floor because gross. After months in this house, they finally decided, like, enough is enough, and they decided to call Ed and Lorraine Warren. And if you don't know who they are clairvoyant, demonologist type people that come and they help with ghost problems. They were the leading investigators in Amityville and a couple other places, but unfortunately it's very controversial in these things because a lot of other people say that I don't want to say manufacture the spirits, but they sensationalize it because, you know, they're spirit hunters. I don't know if that's true because personally, I like them. I watch the Conjuring movies. You know, I even watch their son-in-law's channel. He has his own YouTube channel. I love watching it, so I might be a little biased on this, but I don't think that they were bad people. I think they were pretty cool. But let's just continue on with what happened after they showed up at the house. Now, again, the Warrens here, specifically in this case, it was kind of a controversial thing because, you know, they're ghost hunters, right? You're coming up and people are like, oh, you hunt ghosts? That's what you do for a living? Like, I don't feel like a lot of people would believe you. And I would like to say as a note to this family as well, if this did happen, you know, even if I say, like, I was haunted or something like this happened, I don't think everyone is too keen on believing you. You have to have a really special person that is interested because, like, your first thought is not, you're haunted. It's probably like, oh, it was probably something else. You know, you go to the logical things in your mind. So even if all this did happen, you know, a lot of people won't believe you. So that's really hard. If all the stuff that has gone on in this house did happen, it would be really hard to know that, like, you know, no one really believes you. A lot of people are calling the case controversial. Because as soon as the Warrens came, apparently they found out that some of the morticians had been performing necrophilia on the bodies, which, as far as I know, this was never confirmed. But that's why they said that it was so haunted and they were seeing demons and all these things because, like, the bodies were... Yeah. After doing a full investigation in the house, Ed and Lorraine Warren said, yes, this is haunted. And they actually had to bring in a few people from the church to come in to check out what was going on, right? The first guy that came was like, yeah, this is haunted. And then I think they brought at least 2 other people in, and they were also like, whoa, yeah, this is haunted, until they finally decided to do some sort of exorcism on the home. When they did the exorcism on the home, as far as I know, everything was okay. Like, nothing... They did the exorcism and then, you know, the ghosts went away. And as far as I know, from then on, previous people that moved in have not had any ghost problems, which, you know, if you do an exorcism, I would assume that works. Like, you can't really say that a ghost is there or not just because the people that were previous saw something and then you didn't. Like, it's a little he said, she said, you know? So after all this happened, the Warrens hired a writer to come in and kind of take the stories from the family so that he could write the true story, right? We wanted to sensationalize this whole thing. Apparently, the writer said that he was getting some conflicting stories, to which I don't know if this is true. Again, I was not there. He said that Ed said, you know, just jazz it up. That's kind of verbatim what he said, according to the writer. But again, I wasn't there. I don't, like, a lot of people say stuff, so... And again, it's only bad if it wasn't haunted, right? Because for me, I don't really mind if someone judges up a story a little bit. Because if it's going to be a book or a TV show, like, I can understand the family wanting some money. For me, it's only bad if it's a lie, right? Like, if it's a big lie where nothing happened and then they just made this all up. Which, again, I wasn't there. I did not experience ghosts running around the house or demons doing stuff to me while I sleep. Like, that, I didn't experience any of that, right? So, I'm in a little bit of a crossroads right now. I also do know that the Lutz family from Amityville had their stories, like, it turned into a book, and they made quite a bit of money off of it. So I could see that being as a motivation to be like, oh, hey, yeah, let's pretend our mortuary's haunted, you know, just to get money. But at the same time, you have a sick child Why would they go out of their way to say that all of this happened while having a child that is actively going through cancer treatments? If it was me, I don't think I'd be too interested in that. I'd just be trying to live my life, you know? And then you go and you tell someone the story of these ghosts, and then next thing you know, all this stuff happens. I just can't see myself, when my child is sick, going out of my way to try and get some book deal for ghosts. Because then that's like your whole life going out too, like in the world, and people are going to think you're either nuts or like crazy. But then again, what could be the motivation, because they're going through all these treatments and they have all these kids, is money, right? Money's kind of where it's all at. So this is why this story was so confusing. Like, I'm so caught up. I don't know what to say here or there, because, you know, I like the Warrens and I don't want to believe that stuff like this would have went on, but I don't know because I wasn't there. And to this day, the Snedeker family still stand by their story. Their story has not really changed. They continue to say this is what happened. They haven't said, you know, we were making it up. Like, none of that has happened. Their son actually went into remission after. Unfortunately, his cancer did not go away. I believe he died sometime in his 30s. So condolences to the family for that. That's really hard. But I guess it all comes up to what you guys think. Do you guys think that all this ghost stuff, like the demons and the apparitions, happened? I could understand a mortuary being haunted if there was in fact stuff going on with the bodies, you know? Like, it's already a place where people, like dead people, are collected. So I can understand it being haunted, but it's up to you guys. Do you guys think it was haunted, or do you think it was all just some scheme to get money? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Feel free to give a like or subscribe if you like this content, and we'll be back next week. Also, I have merch down below if you want like a shirt or something. Like, you know, it's there. It's right down there. And if you want to check out my Patreon, you can as well, but don't feel like you have to. It's just there if you need it. All right. See you guys next week. Bye.